I'm so hot.
Have you just ran to the gym?
Girl, like back and forth, back and forth. Aldo is like taking the machine out the truck. And for the last 2 days in Florida, it's been like cooking. When I'm telling you, like cooking,
Really?
just you take a shower, you get out the door, you have boob sweat, butt crack sweat, like under, like everywhere, everywhere. And he just got the machine out this morning. Um, and we changed the time of our podcast. Thank you for doing that for us.
No,
And
it's
and
honestly
me
fine.
being me, like I want him to have breakfast and then little coffee. So I do like I'm in the shower, like doing my orders, like for like we have this like Jewish deli by us. Oh my God, I have to bring you when you come here. Like very clean, like just egg whites, but the bagels, you know the bagels, like the
The bakery
bagels, like the cream,
food, the bakery stuff.
oh,
Oh, that's
and my
living.
little coffee, and my little
Well,
coffee
she's
because
she's
it's early in the
coffeed up.
morning.
She's coffeed up. That's the main
At
thing. She's
least,
coffeed up. Because I feel, are
honestly,
you a
it is.
morning person? Are you a morning person?
Like my whole vision of morning now is completely different because Aldo starts his day at like 1:50. But I would I would consider myself as a progressively morning person. Like it's getting there where like
Yeah.
I'm 7:30, like my body is like ready to go. Which normally I'm more of a night person. And in my family, we're all night person except my mom.
That's interesting. I feel like I'm similar-ish. Like I do like morning. I think generally the more I get into prep, the more I become less of a morning person, which is weird.
Really?
Yeah. I
I
feel
would
like I
say the
become a night
opposite.
person. Really?
But you know why? I think because like you do your cardio at night. That's the only
Yeah.
reason why.
Yeah. I
And
like to sleep
you know
in.
the only reason why I like to wake up in the morning is to get the cardio out the door. That's the only reason why I'm doing fasted. It's not because of like benefits or whatever, because like it's been proven that it really doesn't change a thing. But just to like, okay, fasted, get the morning started. Don't eat too early because if I eat too early, I starve the entire rest of the day. Like I rather have my meals every 2 hours instead of like 3.5 hours, or like be done by like 5:30 if I only have 5 meals and I start really early. Like we had this debate so many times, me and Aldo, like Aldo and I, because he's like waking up early, and he's like, just wake up earlier. I'm like, you don't understand. Like as soon as I wake up, I'm hungry,
Yeah.
and that means if I wake up at 5, I have like 5 hours of starving. I rather wake up at 7, have 3 hours of starving, which one of them is like just cardio, and then I can start eating at 10, and then I can just spread my meals apart. But yeah, what a
I
day. It's
I
okay.
feel the same. I feel the same. Like where I try and, especially in prep, I start to try and prolong my meals, all that type of thing. So I'm not like you said, starving because, and that's why I kind of sleep in. Also because I feel like, well, I mean, sometimes I feel like I can't sleep as much. So obviously I do just end up waking up and I'm just up, you know. But most of the time, if I choose to, if I can have a lie-in, I'll try and have a lie-in and be like, let's just prolong the day a little bit more when I'm in prep and stuff like that. So, but yeah, how's the rest of the day kind of like been? I guess.
It's 8:30. It's 9. No, it's 9.
Oh,
It's 9 a.m., Phoebe. I have Glues by me who's just like talking a lot. It's everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. We're going
you're like
to
sweating, like it's okay. I'm fine. I'm fine. But yeah, you said obviously you
we're
went
go
to this week, didn't you? Go to pick up some equipment. So like, what did you get? Like, what did you? What are you allowed to say? What did you get? Like, what did you pick up and stuff?
so we received like two machine this week, butt stuff, like a back extension, which you're gonna be absolutely obsessed with. And Aldo and I drove to Daytona yesterday, which is like
That's far,
three
isn't
to
it?
four hours.
Yeah.
Yes, 3 to 4 hours. Going is fine. Coming back, that's the thing because now you have the machine in the back and you have to drive very slow. So I drove like the entire way back, like at 60 miles per hour, and it was absolutely miserable. And then I had to come back home and then just like drop all the stuff, let him sleep because, oh my God, putting this machine on the truck, like it wasn't a farmland, like Phoebe, it wasn't a farmland. We had a tractor, like an
I
actual like
saw his
farmer
story
truck,
and I was like, what is going on? Like,
lifting the
what?
thing up like with glutes in the car, being hot and sweaty. Like it was, I don't know, it was great. I had a great time.
But you
But
think about it and you're like, oh, this is giving me anxiety. This is a little bit too much for us. Was it Saturday yesterday? Saturday afternoon. But it's fine. We're past it now.
I mean, girl, like seeing your partner is so happy because this machine, like he's been looking for it for like years, like literally, like since he's been like, yeah, for a long time. So that was the great part of all this. And I'm so happy to not be in prep and very like, one, being able to be there because otherwise I would never, like, not never, like I've been in the past, like going with him, like getting machines. But girl, it was, I would get just exhausted.
Yeah.
Like it was so, like I told him, I'm like, I remember like picking up pieces with you and just thinking I was about to faint every single time. Like it was just not a great experience. And then now we're just like, we stopped getting like a pub sub, like a public sub, like a, you know, it was just like a little like adventure. It was super awesome. And I was like, not, you know, looking at my watch to like meet my meals. Like I didn't like had to pack meals. Like we left at 5 a.m. in the morning, just like in the car. I'm like, yo, this is life, you know, this is like off season life, you know, I don't even want like necessarily vacation. I just want to be able to be like super present. And, you know, I'm doing a lot of that now. But you, Phoebe, you're on week like 3, right? Of like the soft prep. So I haven't watched your video.
I love you. So week 3, and we actually started increasing food again. So we literally just wanted to do it was very, very kind of minor, just to generally just get me back into the swing of things, like of just kind of looking at forwards to the future and all that type of thing. That was literally the main goal of this kind of mini cup phase. We increased food and stuff again this week, which has been good, and we've decreased cardio. So we're only doing like 25 minutes of like steady state where it's like walking on treadmill. Do you know what I mean? 5 times a week. That's it. Because I don't get in a lot of movement anyway, like because both of our jobs are very like standstill jobs, office jobs. Like it sounds funny saying office job because we technically do have an office job, and that's like what we work to not do, but that's technically like my job. So yeah, I'm in the office all day, and obviously like sitting down, sometimes obviously up and down when I'm showing how to pose and stuff, but that's literally it. So we obviously try and keep some sort of movement in, whether it's doing like, I love doing classes. I think we discussed this before. Like I enjoy doing classes in off season. Like I like doing the HIIT classes, the boxing classes, and because I have energy, I enjoy it so much. But yeah, I mean, and it's gone really well. Like I feel good in my like shape and stuff like that. And it was just okay to see obviously how my body would respond as well. So we've lost around 2 kilos, which is around 4.5-ish pounds, I think. So in that kind of 3-week period. So we're like, okay, cool. We're happy with that. We'll increase food and then kind of, you know, slowly go from there when we're a little bit closer, obviously, to the Olympia and stuff. But I think for me, it was just good to kind of get myself back into transitioning into prep in a way, if that makes sense. Like obviously, we were 24 weeks out yesterday, by the way. Just to let you know.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
I know you don't like to be reminded this far out, but just letting you know. But I mean,
it hits though.
I know,
it hits a little bit, to be honest.
I was watching New York yesterday and obviously Pittsburgh back to back, and I'm like, holy shit, like it's coming quick. Like we're almost 6 months into the year. What? Like how? I know.
Phoebe. That's crazy.
I know.
So you guys have basically achieved your goal, like which was kind of just seeing how your body responds, and now you're putting kind of like a stop to it.
Yeah. So we're kind of going to a little bit of like maintenance almost. So a little bit of maintenance. We've decreased, like I said, cardio, increased a little bit of food, and we'll probably do that. We'll keep checking in obviously weekly and stuff from now on, and we'll now probably try and obviously kind of say airline. For me, it was just to get my mind in a better position to kind of transition, if that makes sense. Because I feel like when I transition from an off season to a prep, I can't do it where it's like, okay, cool, you're 8 weeks out now. Do you know what I mean? Like I need a little bit more time to be like, right, let's prepare myself. This is the date that we're working towards. This is what we're doing this time. Do you know what I mean? Like I needed just a little bit more structure. Versus I think like, and this was one of the questions I actually wanted to ask you, but and I mean, this is the topic, if you guys haven't noticed, of today's episode is kind of.
I love how you softly like introduce the topic like twice. Just the transition.
Trying to swindle it in nice and smoothly there. But yeah, I mean, so obviously today's topic is just talking about how we transition from off season into prep, because that will be happening for both of us, you know, soon. So I feel like For me, my question to you obviously was like, what did you used to do from your transitions from a off season to a prep versus what they are now? Because I feel like they're probably are very different.
Girl, I mean, every prep is different because every off season is different because life is different every time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's honestly not like a copy paste situation at all. And it's like, I mean, I could try to think of like the last time that I've been off season for, let's say I'm going to be off season for like 4 months, about that, I think, from like me, from the Arnold to like when I'm going to start prep.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a very like flip on, like switch on, switch off type of
Oh, okay.
girl. I see what you guys are doing. It's kind of like seeing, okay, like your body, is it responsive at this point? And I think for me, I just want to be like, I'm just trusting my body, which is like, it makes sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Because we do get older. Sometimes our body doesn't respond. Like, I don't know for you, like if it ever happens that you switched on and your body was just like not moving at all. Did it ever happen to you?
Yes. I think what is in like when you start kind of prepping and you're like, right, it's game time, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I think back in like, if I'm honest, no. Like not massively, like it might have taken like maybe literally, I feel like a lot of preps that you kind of start and maybe a little bit of time, it takes a little bit of time to kind of kickstart. The most amount for me has literally been, I would say like maybe 3 weeks. Like we've started to diet, we've started to kind of get into the swing of things, and we've kept it airline. That was 2021, I think, for the Arnold's UK, where it was a little bit slow starting at the beginning. And we kind of just stayed the same. And then my body kind of all of a sudden got the message and then was like, okay, now we're starting to make progress and drop weight-wise. That's saying weight-wise, though. So, I mean, my body was tightening up kind of small increments within those 3 weeks, but I wasn't seeing a weight shift. And then all of a sudden it was kind of like a swoosh, if that makes sense. And I feel like that happens a lot of the time for me. Like it was the same this time, I guess. Well, to be fair, we've slowly dropped these 4 pounds in the last like 3-ish weeks nicely. They've kind of come down nicely, which is good. But I've never had it where it's been like really, really stagnant. I feel like the beginning though for me is slower progress. When I'm then in prep, that's when my body will be like drop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because like, so how is it different for you? Like, would you say when you switch you flip the switch on, you know, like how is your routine different? Like, how's your life different? How's your like diet different? Like when you guys, like you obviously decided to do that with Adam. Yeah. What was your first day like compared to the other one?
I mean, for me, like recently when we kind of first started the mini cut, I wasn't very hungry, if I'm honest, which is crazy. Like I wasn't really like massively hungry to want to have the food in my off season and stuff like that anyway, if I'm going to be completely honest. So, and good. He wanted to, which is kind of good in a way, but he kind of said, let's try and like see what we can kind of, you know, achieve in these next kind of 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks anyway. At the same time, it kind of gets myself back into kind of like, oh, there's glutes. Hello, glutes.
Mommy. I am sorry, everyone.
No, you're okay. For sharp barking in your ears. What was I saying? Yeah. So, I mean, the first day, I would say wasn't really that difficult, if I'm honest. Like, it wasn't that different. And, you know, we've been doing this for so long. So I feel like going back into kind of a meal plan, following things kind of what they are supposed to be, it wasn't that massively difficult, but it's making sure that we can do the simple things like, okay, let's get into a routine of doing my cardio at this time. Let's get into a routine of making my meals at the beginning. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's just already there a little bit more, because in my off season, obviously I think me and you are the same, where we do just need to take a step back and we do need to relax more in an off season now, for me anyway, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. So I want like, what's your breakfast?
You're like, I want to know your meals. It's
no, just here, because I think that breakfast is like the main thing. Like, yeah. I want to say like how, because I know you love bagels, so like I don't know if like you switch on like what's your breakfast like?
So we
right now?
took out the we took out the bagels, unfortunately, but we just switched to an omelet. So I usually have a bagel with eggs, or like toast and eggs, and then we just literally took out the toast, we took out the bagel, and that was literally it. And obviously we moved that more of the carbs, obviously being post and pre-workout and all that type of thing. So we kind of, instead of having carbs in, because I was pretty much having carbs in every single meal anyway, when I was kind of tracking in the off season. And so, but now we've just kind of moved them to where we, I guess, need them most, if that makes sense. So like before a workout, after workout, all that type of thing. So that was the main change, if I'm honest. And I didn't really massively notice it. I think the first day I was kind of like, oh, this is less food. And you know, when you just get a little bit more hungry because your stomach's just not as full, but it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm starving, like already, if that makes sense. Because it wasn't it was a big drop, but not massive, if I'm honest. And I think as well, I was kind of ready for it, where I wanted to kind of get my game back, my head back into kind of like the swing of prep in a way, because I'd had, you know, the little bit time off, and I wanted to make sure that we were getting ready for the Olympia, for where we need to kind of, I guess, be, you know?
Yeah, I think you're like, it's not really drastic.
No.
It kind of is. I think
Yeah.
it kind of is, to be honest. Like, but I get what you're saying. So a little bit less carbs and more carbs around the training, which like totally makes
Yeah.
sense. Like, I think it's the first thing that needs to go. No toast in the breakfast, so no processed food, just because your coach is Adam, you know, shout out to Adam, is
Yeah.
very anti-processed food.
Yeah.
Unless it's like sugar-free stuff. Like, he's
Yeah.
like a pro sugar-free. He loved his sugar-free
He
stuff.
loves sugar-free so much. But no, I think for me, it was a good decision. And I feel like I'm happy with the transition. I think we did this the last 3 years we've done preps. So this is the third year. So this is the last 3 years. We've kind of started a little bit earlier, in the kind of like 20-ish week out mark. We start thinking about, okay, what shows are we going to do? What, you know, things are we going to kind of move forwards towards, if that makes sense, to get my mind into things before the show actually happens, if that makes sense.
Do you kind of forget about your fats like off season?
If I'm
Or
honest,
you're trying to
I
like,
eat more fats in an off season. Like, I like having like egg yolks. I like having more like cheese and stuff like that. Like, that's
I
what
see.
I prefer. Yeah, I prefer having those types of things more in an off season. And I mean, if I'm honest, with my prep, I still had like yolks and stuff like that. Like, I still had egg yolks, so I still needed fats in
So
the
healthy.
prep. Do you know what I mean? But like, I liked, that was my thing. I had my omelet with my little egg on the side with a full egg, you know, instead of just it being egg whites and just spinach, you know. Like, I still had my yolks, but no, I weirdly, I mean, sometimes I prefer fats over
Oh,
carbs, yeah, because I feel like carbs make me more hungry, especially in a prep. It makes me more hungry. So when I have like refeeds and stuff, I'm like, can we make, like, sometimes I'll be like, can we do fats instead of carbs? Just because I'm like, or it depends obviously what type of refeed it is. If it's a small refeed, like obviously like maybe fats, but if it was a big refeed, then we might obviously have to do carbs to fill out or whatever. But I'm like, can we do like fats and carbs? Because I do like not feeling, one, so stuffed from like carbs sometimes when you're in a prep, and two, like being so hungry from carbs. Feel like it boosts the metabolism sometimes, and it just makes me feel twice as worse because you're just hungry, even more hungry than you were before.
yeah, I always said like white rice for me, the worst. Like, it drives me insane, actually.
I remember you
could
said
eat the whole
you
pot.
have brown rice, don't you? Usually.
Brown rice only because I hate it. And like, Kim would give me like a third of a cup, and I'm just like, okay, that was it. Otherwise, like, if he like, he used to give me white rice, or like whatever rice, like, it doesn't matter, but it would drive me insane. I'm like, I'd rather not have it at all
Yeah.
than having like one third of a cup of white rice. Like,
Yeah.
no.
I think
No,
that's
when
good though, that you kind of figured out what your I say trigger foods, but like foods that were like,
No, call
in
it
a
how it
way,
is.
yeah, like
yeah.
trigger foods in a way, like you figured those out. And I think anyone that's in a prep or like does, you know, has been doing bodybuilding for a while, like a few years and so, they'll probably figure out what foods are good for them, and like not in a way that makes you, you know, oh, I want more of
Yeah.
that, or oh, I want to cheat now because I've had a little bit of that, so I want more. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just keeps you airline, it keeps you stable, which I think is good.
Yeah, that's why, girl, I love my meal preps, and my cookie cutter, whatever diet that people call, because it's so simple.
Yeah.
And I know what whenever I eat something, I know exactly how I'm going to feel digestion wise, and also psychologically wise. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that can fit in their macros like half a Pop Tart. I'm like, who in hell like opens a Pop Tart packet and eat half of it? Like
yeah.
this is like some power like I I mean I probably could, but I'm like, why would I put myself in that position when I rather like wait off season and have the full thing, like maybe 2 packets if I could, instead of like having it a little bit all the way through prep. Like I rather honestly just stick to the basic, like
Yeah.
really
I
really
also
basic.
feel like having those types of foods don't fully like fill you up either. Like I think in an off season, like especially when food's higher and your hunger probably isn't there as much, like having those types of foods as like a pre-workout or a post-workout is like fine because you're like, that satisfies me. Do you know what I mean? But I think in a prep, for me anyway, like again, I know people that, have had like not cookies, but like sweet things like post-workout or pre-workout or whatever. And I think obviously it works for them. That's absolutely fine. But I do feel like sugar for me is like a huge trigger to want to have more. Like I feel like that's just a common thing for dieting anyway. Like not even bodybuilding wise, but just lifestyle wise. When
Yes.
sometimes people have sugar, and if they can't control themselves or they're like, I kind of want more, it just takes that little bit more to kind of just have more. Even the like sugar thing. I remember last year when I came to America last year before the Olympia, and obviously America is like, they have so many sugar-free things. Like, so I got like, which is kind of like good, but also kind of like terrible. Like there's way too much option. Like it's actually terrifying because I'm like, what is actually in this? Like, yeah, it tastes good and it's 0 calories, but how is it 0 calories? That doesn't make sense in my brain. Like I'm not used to it. But no, what did I have? So it was like, when people, I don't know if you've had this before where you've had like egg whites or eggs and you put syrup on it or like sugar-free syrup. Have you seen that before?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I'm Canadian, so like maple syrup, it is a thing, but the sugar-free syrup,
The sugar-free one. So I always see that. So I was like, oh, let me try it. And I was like, oh my God, the sugar-free one is really nice. And it just made me want a lot more. So I was like, nah, not even having the sugar-free stuff because it tastes like it tastes like sugar. So it makes me want more. And just because it's 0 calorie, it bloats you still. It makes me not feel very good still. Like it makes me feel quite tired, if I'm honest. Having like a lot of sugar-free things.
Okay, I'm going to say something that I'm no expert. So like if anyone is listening to this right now and I'm completely wrong about it, feel free to put it in the comment because I'm here for the knowledge. But I do agree with you 100% because one, your body is like not recognizing whatever chemical it is to create that type of product. So it's like, it's working twice as hard to like, do I digest this thing? Do I put it in your bloodstream? It's like, what do I do with this thing? You know what I'm saying? So honestly, I remember like my Olympia prep, I used to make those like pancakes that I do. Like it's just eggs, egg white, oats, and the spinach thingy.
Oh, yeah.
And I would put a tablespoon of real maple syrup because yes, it's a lot of sugar. I think it's like 30 grams of like straight up sugar, but it's natural. You know what I'm saying? And Kim Odo, my coach, his supplement brand, he has like a cortisol powder and glutamine powder. It's 3 grams of carbs per scoop because he used real maple syrup. But girl, like it just goes. Like your body is just like sucking it in.
Ooh.
And it's one of those where like it really doesn't change anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it does so much benefit for you. And same thing with like raw honey. Like raw honey is like so much like antibiotics and like vitamins and stuff. So I'm always like you said, when I came to the US, I was like, I had all the sugar-free, like everything, the sugar-free, the fat-free, the 0 calories. Like I was like excited about it. And I didn't even finish like one thing because I was like, I couldn't digest it. My skin was breaking out, like just really like gut issues, straight up.
I think I left that syrup in his cupboard in his house because I didn't finish. I literally used it once, and I was like, I think the next day I was really bloated and I was tired, and I was like, what's changed? Like, what have I even changed? And I thought that was the only thing that had changed. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's probably it. So
even chewing gum. Like chewing gum.
Okay, so everyone, just to let everyone know, Lauralie loves chewing gum.
Girl,
I love it. When I came to see you last time, you were literally like, do you want a pack of chewing gum? And I was like, no, I'm okay. And you were like, I'm going through yours. I'm gonna have yours. I'm going through all of it.
Girl, but the
Yeah.
pain I'm going through,
So
I
much
I eat
chewing.
one stick, I'm fine. But I always do like two because I want the two. Like I want it
You
to
want
take space
more.
in my mouth. Phoebe, the pain that I experience when I eat chewing gum now, it's unexplainable. It's like a sharp pain. It's like me having like literally like being
That's
stabbed into my
crazy.
like my stomach. It's insane.
That's
So
crazy.
so yeah. Oh my god.
We've
I'm sure there's
derailed.
gonna be like I know, no, but I'm sure there's gonna be like people that are like pro sugar free and like it's like it
Oh,
is what it
100%.
is. But I like
100%.
it just, yeah, I think at the end of the day, like what we're trying to say right now is just like know what works for you and your body. And try to be in a place where like you're not triggered, like, or very less triggered. And I think that transition for me this year is gonna be a lot smoother. I just think the biggest thing is going to be from going like literally complete freedom to like a very regimented plan. But I think by then I'm going to be really excited because
Yeah.
living with Aldo, it's like we don't wait for Saturday to eat pizza. If he wants pizza on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, he takes all 3 days and he order pizza every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I need to face that every day. Like even for now, like sometimes I like he asks me, "Do you want something?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm just gonna whatever chicken breast and I want to be in a place right now, like that's what I'm building, like in a place where like my body finds its homeostasis. Like I'm not taking, girl, no vitamins, no nothing. So when I start, everything comes together. I'm gonna have 500 milligrams of vitamin C. My body's gonna be like the potency of like every vitamin, every supplement in me, like the food in me is going to be like I've just first started like training and doing all
Yeah.
these stuff,
I
you
actually
know?
think that's very interesting that you're like, I want to try, like, you're completely, like, obviously off in off season, which I love. We're squeezing our cheeks right now. But I love that. And I kind of do that to an extent. And I always quote Dexter Jackson for this because he always says the same. Like, he's always like, and he's obviously, male bodybuilder, been doing this for God knows how long. He used to take like everything off in an off season. Like he was off everything. He didn't train as much. Like he trained very, very minimal. I actually think I remember in one of his YouTubes, this was ages ago, I swear he said that he took like 12 to 20 weeks, like actually off training. Like he didn't do, or 12, it was something like 10 or 12 weeks actually physically off training. So he could get his body primed for when he then starts prep again, which I do think is very good. And I think that's the difference between our preps now, like when we get into our preps now versus what it used to be like. Because I think in my off season, and don't get me wrong, I think it is very good to be regimented in an off season because you need to make sure you're making those improvements and all that type of thing. But I think for our experiences of where we are in our career bodybuilding wise, we need to take that mental reset. We need to take that body reset because we've been doing this for like 7 years straight now, like
Almost a decade.
7 years straight. So it's like we need that mental reset. We need that like body reset to make sure that our bodies can still continue to be our best selves. And don't get me wrong, we're not fucking having like pizza every night and like just being just silly with it. Do you know what I mean? Like we still very much have our end goals in mind, like all the time. Like it's not like we don't, off season is off, I'm not doing anything. I'm not thinking about anything or doing, anything. I do think everyone has their different, like everyone has their own preps. Everyone has their own off seasons as well. And I think ours have both changed massively because of just the position we're in now,
Yeah, I think it's about being smart and like thinking about longevity wise. I think we had like great example in the sport of bikini. Thinking about Angelica, I'm thinking about Janet, and these two girls, I've traveled with them. And like when when they're off, they're off. Like Janet out eats me, and like people would not believe that. And I'm sorry, Janet, to like put you out there, but like it's a skill set that I've like never acknowledged. Like I never seen that much in my life. Like it's a skill. It's like it's a skill, Phoebe. Like
That's so good.
how
Claps
much
for her.
like she can eat. Angelica can eat, and then Angelica just had a baby.
Hello, glutes. It's probably people going past.
Let's say hi. Oh my God, these poor people. She's obvious. She's so funny because she how do you say, she like not scream, I don't know how to say in English.
No, it barks.
She barks. Yes,
Yeah.
she barks, and she sounds like a pit bull. But then she goes and like she wiggle her little butt, you know. Going- So yeah, I was saying like for me having those examples as a woman, which like they're both mothers now. Angelica literally got off stage and like had a baby,
Yeah.
and that for me, hence the reason why I'm with Kim now is like seeing those things happening, and I'm just like, wow, like he really cares
Yeah.
and understands that like bikini and fitness and like competing, not competing, is for a small portion in our life, and
Making it a lifestyle, like making it actually a lifestyle where it is longevity and it can fit into your life, but you can also then achieve other things outside of that in a way.
correct. And it's weird because Kim is very very not anti, but like the sugar, the refined stuff. Like you would never see. Like Kim is like chicken salad. The morning, it's always like the little like waffle that his wife is making. It's like eggs and still to this day, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, you're gonna see, like you're gonna be tempted by having those kind of food just on a daily basis. And my coffee is my thing, right? I could have anything. I have the same coffee that I have like in prep, literally every day. Like in the past, I would be like, oh, I want a frappuccino. Like, don't get me wrong, like I would have a frappuccino, but I'm like, I just want to feel good, and I just, I don't eat pancakes just to eat pancakes either. I'm like, you understand what I'm trying to say. It's
Yeah.
like longevity, the smart part, but it's so funny how it comes naturally to me now.
Yeah.
Because I want to say last year, I was very YOLO, like very, like
What, in the off season?
oh yeah, like make it a point to like, okay, this is my time to like say yes to everything, like going out of my way to eat something that's like not prep friendly,
Friendly. Yeah.
like going out of my way to do so. Now I'm just like, if I understand that I'm very like right now it's very all about sauces. Like I put pesto everywhere. And like aioli mayo, like everywhere.
Oh,
Like
I've never tried that
that's my
before.
thing.
A lot of people say it's
It's
nice
great.
though. It's great.
It's great. But I do like avocado oil mayo, like organic stuff,
Yeah.
which is like it's not less sugar or whatever. It just makes me feel better.
Yeah. But I think that's good that you are like, you've changed your perception of an off season now where you are like, again, in an off season, like you said, I feel like it's less common now. I think when we started, it was very much like common. We're like, right, we're off season. Let's eat as much as we can, train as heavy as we can, push as much as we can food wise and training wise. Versus now for us, like we said before, it is about taking that rest, because I feel like that rest is gonna prolong everything else. It really is. And I feel like that's something that sometimes, again, some people don't agree with it at all. Like I see people that are full on hardcore bodybuilders through and through, and they will be on it with their training and on it with everything, every single detail in an off season as well, which creates a very, very good athlete as well. That's not what I'm saying. It's like, it's not. But I think for where we are in our journeys and where we are and where we want to get to, we need that rest and recovery time. Oh, another person that's very, very good example of that, Chris Bumstead. Like, you see that man, going, I think right now he's in Italy. He was literally just recently in Dubai. And he takes his time off. Like, do you know what I mean? And he's like, what, four-time Mr.
Yes,
Mr. Olympia? So like,
Yep.
it's, an off season is what you make it, and prep is what you make it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like you need to do what is best for you. Obviously, not going kind of too extreme in either aspects, but making sure it's what's best for you and what's best for your goals that you want to achieve. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And the phenomenon of like bodybuilders taking the time off, like off training and stuff, it's also for the joints. It's also for the muscle.
Yeah.
I mean, Dexter Jackson is like standing very, like when you see him walking very like straight.
Yeah. Same with Jay Cutler.
Like, very, very healthy, very healthy. So yeah, I do think I've always been able to keep myself in check, even though like my body looks like I've obviously gained weight. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it's
but I
obviously different.
I think that's
But
good though.
I honestly, like, I do not care. Like, the main thing that's different from me, I think, this off season is the body shaming part. Like, I think I force myself to like not change my clothing at all. Like,
Okay.
meaning I don't put oversized shirts. Like, I wear the same thing I would wear in prep in off
Yeah.
season, and I'm just obviously I get slammed on social media. Like, she's not healthy. She's not like a good representation of the sport because, like, what does healthy even mean? Like, is it like are we still like in 2023 saying that health is a physical thing? Like, are we still there? Like, what? Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, Phoebe, I can honestly say I'm healthy for like, I wake up in the morning, I have good night of sleep, I have my period. Um, I'm healthy because I have a functional body. All of this, it doesn't mean nothing to me anymore because when time is gonna come, I'm gonna be shredded and lean and XYZ, and a perception of someone who's healthy. Oh my
Is
god, it's so like, it's so weird. And
yeah.
like I said, like, it's like we're in 2023 and it's like you're still like Susan, like Betty. I'm like, Betty, are you still there? Like,
Yeah.
it's time for you to like,
I think the
I don't
perception
know.
of healthy, I think the perception of healthy people think is a physical, like you said, a visual thing. There it's like, oh, you're lean and shredded, that means you're healthy. Do you know what I mean? Like, or you're in shape. I'm doing the quotation marks. You're in shape. So you can see more definition in your body. That means you're healthy. That doesn't always mean you're healthy. Like, that doesn't always mean that you are in the best state you need to be for a prep or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like the stigma of gaining weight, I think it has gotten better, but it's still not where it should be in a way, if that makes sense. Especially in bodybuilding, I do feel like it has progressed. Like, I am seeing more and more people, gaining more, like, quotation marks again, more weight, but they're making more progress. They're making better health decisions, I guess, in a way, with their physiques and their minds and all that type of thing. I mean, I've always been the type of person, I think one thing that I always get is like, oh, I love that you show that you're putting on more weight in your off season. And I'm like, I've always put on like at least a good, I'm going to say the numbers, obviously 15 to 25 pounds straight up. Like, that's how I've kind of, gone up. From years ago, I used to kind of go up around 15 pounds and it's increased over the years. But my muscle mass over the years, every time I've stepped on stage, has increased. So
A lot.
I've made my progress that I've needed to every single year. My preps have been easier. Like, I haven't been, doing as much cardio. We haven't been eating as less. We haven't been doing like whatever. So my thing is like, I think obviously people are like, you shouldn't gain as much in your off season to try and stay lean so we can see everything. But my defense to that is, how do you know that gaining weight, gaining a bit more body fat and eating more, training more isn't also going to do the same amount as if you were just staying lean? Does that make sense?
I mean, 1000%. I mean, I don't think if someone finds a study that shows hypertrophy, like, meaning gaining muscles, is due to either gaining or not gaining weight.
Yeah.
Like, I would disagree. Like, hypertrophy, like getting muscle and like getting better, a better self, has nothing to do with like external body fat. Like, I don't think so. Like, even the phenomenon right now that I see with a lot of like girls that I'm posing with is like bulking, like
Yeah.
the bikini bulk.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you like? I mean, I know what they're trying to achieve, but I at the same time, I don't know. I'm like, why would you want to eat 5,000 calories a day?
Yeah.
Like, it's not fun. People have the misconception of like, oh, my coach increased my food. That gives it, like, increasing your food to have your metabolism running on 5,000 calories a day, like, and just like running through it, right? It's
a lot.
not fun.
No.
It's not fun. You honestly, like, I can gain muscle. I can, like, my body is still able to like recover. Like, you never want to be too low or too high to not being able to recover, because that's where the gains are at. It's like the gains is like in the recovery part of things.
Yeah.
So it's you being able to train hard. Are you able to train hard really? Like, with 5,000 calories? Like, with 5,000 calories, I'm lethargic. Like, I cannot.
My tummy is going to be popping out my stomach. But I mean, I think the thing is what we're always trying to say, because we don't want to be kind of like, you know, one-sided about things or whatever. Because again, everyone does their own thing. Everyone needs to, you know, do what they need to do. Because, you know, there could be someone that is, you know, there's some girls that are, you know, really, really short, don't have a lot of muscle, that need to gain muscle. So they have to eat for 5,000 calories. They have to do whatever. Like, that's the 1%, whatever. But I do feel like I agree with what you're saying. Like, I feel like there's trends that go around where it's like, you need to be eating this amount to be gaining muscle, or this amount to be doing this at bikini level sometimes. So to gain that much, I guess that much like muscle that they need to, but I don't think it's, you know, sometimes always correct in a way, if that makes sense. It's difficult though. When it comes to like numbers, it's always difficult.
It needs to be like a transfer, right? It needs to be like a circle of things that just goes and comes. So like you eat to give you energy for the gym. Gym at the gym needs to be intense. Like it's not 80% like diet and 20% training. No, at all. Like everything is 100%. So 100% food transferred into your training, like training intensity, training for real intensity though. Like train.
Yeah.
Like don't work out, train to gain muscle. And you know when you train to gain muscle, like you feel it when you train.
You can
and you're
feel it a lot.
So train, recover, and everything needs to be like in sync and in symbiosis. And like you're gonna find again, like the word homeostasis is just where your body temperature, mindset, like it's more everything, like your chakra is aligned, like everything, like find where your chakra is aligned. Like, and you right now, like you found your maintenance calories, which like from there you can sustain that for a very long period of time and like still be able to do your chores, like you're able to like do your work, your daily life. That's a good maintenance. It's AKA homeostasis, where your body weight on scale is not really going to move either. So you probably have found that too as well with the years. Like, do you have like a sweet spot where your weight off season just like kind of stays, like sits, and just stays? Do you have a certain weight?
So I'm like, I mean, I work in kilos as well. So anyone that's like US or anyone, I don't work in pounds, so I don't actually know what it is in pounds. But
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm 70. How much was I? 74 kilos at the moment, which I think is, I want to say that's like
2.2. 162.
Okay, cool. So 162. So 162 pounds. And I probably lose, from that, I'd probably lose around 20 pounds from that. So that's probably going to be like me at 142, 140.
Are you on
maybe.
stage at 140?
Yeah. So I get on stage
that's a mass.
Like
that's
I
good.
get on, well, last year I was on stage at 136. But this year we were like, we want to try and get to this. We wanted to, like, we were looking back at our weights and stuff like that and like where we were best. Because I do think, like, again, you're kind of similar, where we were kind of brought in our conditioning just that little bit too much. We lost a little bit of fullness. So I feel like we scaled it back and had a look at where we started to kind of derail. And it was kind of around like 3-4ish weeks out. Because I was really so early. So like we just want to try and be on stage a little bit heavier, which I think you and Kim did the same for Arnold's this year, didn't you? You kind of were like, this is where we need to be and all that type of thing.
I mean, it's crazy because Phoebe and I, for everyone who's listening, we have pretty much the same height, babe. Right?
Yeah.
Like maybe
I think I'm a little bit taller, but not massive, like a few inches. Small.
Smidge. So your weight at the Olympia, 136.
Yeah.
It was my weight at the Arnold. My weight at the Olympia was 10 to 11 pounds lighter than that. Oh, wow. I was like, maybe, girl, 5'7.5". That's how I am. I was like 122, I think. Like on stage at the Olympia, like pounds.
Damn.
Which like, sorry. Okay, 122 divided by 2.2. No. Kilos.
55 kilos. 55 kilos. Yeah, I was around, so I was like 5 kilos heavier than you, 5-6 kilos heavier than you at the Olympia, which is like 12 pounds, I think. So,
I mean, it said it how it is though. Like I won the Arnold. I went from 5th at the Olympia and in 10 weeks gained like over, like almost like, I think I probably stepped on stage at 136. I want to be like safe to say because
I think I remember you saying 136 or like 134 or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And then the Olympia, I think by the time we stepped on stage with that prejudging of like an hour and 30 minutes, like I was probably 122 because I deflate a lot so
Yeah.
quick. Like show day, it's if I don't eat like consistently and keep it like every 30 minutes something in my stomach, I just deflate. So I think I was 122. So girl, I was like 12 pounds heavier, 13 pounds heavier,
That's
which is nuts.
crazy. I mean,
But
I'm the type of,
I won. So like I'm like this like yo, the judges are so good. Like they're so great for the sport. Like I love where it's going. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And I think especially because we were backstage when we both got our feedback. I remember for the Olympia at the same time, and we were kind of like chatting before as well. And it was the same. We were both kind of the similar feedback, obviously slightly different, but it was basically the same kind of like where it needed to be. So I feel like because you took that into account and you kind of came in that little bit fuller, which is what they wanted, it paid off. Do you know what I mean? So kind of bringing it back to, off season, transitioning from an off season into a prep, I do feel like, we're both different in that sense where you can fully switch on straight away and you're like, right, it's go time, let's go. Versus I need like a little bit of cradling into it in a way where I'm just like, right, let's slowly go into a diet, like a little bit of a diet or like a slightly mini cut phase, maintenance, then kind of go into that prep phase to kind of get my, I guess, mind ready into it in a way. So I feel like it's interesting. If you guys have like a way that you get ready for your preps, comment down below if you're listening to on YouTube, because we'd love to know. Because again, this isn't like what we're saying right now isn't a right or wrong. It's what we've experienced and what we've done to get our success. And I do feel like there is so much knowledge out there at the moment. Oh, hi, Glitz.
You heard that?
She's moaning.
She needs to go out.
But
I know, baby. I know. I love you.
But I think it's very good because I feel like at the moment it's very much, there's so much knowledge out there, but I think it's good because it gives you what you need to learn for yourself, but then also at the same time, you want to try and make sure that you're not just taking in anything to what someone's saying, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's why I think it's good to kind of have the conversation of what other people are doing in their off seasons and all that type of thing. But yeah, so I love it.
All right, you guys. So we're gonna wrap this episode up. I think it's gonna be good for maybe the next episode to kind of like go more in depth with like how I actually transitioned to it, and like whenever I speak to Kim and have like an actual plan for you. When I say switch on, switch off, I also don't go to like from now to like tilapia only. Like I have a very mindful that I want to keep my period as long as I can. I want to keep my metabolism very like working hard, but more regiment. That's all it is. And like working right now on getting on a very good place. I have body work every 10 days, keeping that everything healthy and like ready to go and attack this prep. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to be in the best mindset.
Let's call this transition from prep off season to prep part 1. And I think next episode we'll do part 2 where we can kind of go into a little bit more depth about what we're planning on doing for this Olympia and our plan of attack. So, but yeah, love you guys so much. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, and make sure that you rate the little star thing on not WhatsApp, on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. And we love you guys so much, and we'll speak to you soon.
I love you guys so much. Sorry, excuse Glutes. She's great. But yeah, this is what it is. She's literally my children. Like she's my child.
She's your
like,
child. She really is.
God. Okay.
Right. Much
love
love.
you guys so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you for part 2. Bye.